Alright, what we're going to be doing is blowing things up. What better way to understand dynamics, right? How does something explode? First off, we have a barrel. It came along with this lesson. It's probably in the instructor file area. And it is called exploding barrel. Alright. You'll notice that this barrel is one solid chunk, but it's actually made of a whole bunch of chunks. If I go mesh separate, here is all the chunks. Also, the UVs are laid out in such a way that it can be textured rather easy. You'll notice that each chunk has its own UV space. So those metal bands are over here, the lids, and then the rails that make up the barrel itself. But individually, they're all there. Okay. I would suggest before we get started, just as a refresher, if you want to bake shadows for something like this, it's a little bit different. So have it combined. Go into rendering, go into lighting and shading, batch bake mental ray, square box. Go to single object, occlusion, 64, barrel OCC, 4-bit, I would go 2048 by 2048, and the following settings. Then, let's set a project. Project, set. On your desktop, you should probably make a new folder. Now, in most cases, see how the yellow folder icon does not light up? Let's go to the Explorer window, and on your desktop, let's make a new folder. We want to make this folder with the least common assets, so this is the best way to do that. In other words, if you go Project New in Maya, it'll make a whole bunch of folders that are unneeded. I'd rather go to the desktop and make a folder and call it Exploding Barrel. Okay. And then I can go File, Project, Set, and set it to Exploding Barrel. Alright, let's save the scene. And hit convert. Alright, so here's my OCC baked barrel. Okay, ambient occlusion. And what you can do now is take that and texture it via this. On the desktop in Exploding Barrel, you now have render data, mental ray, light map, and that's where you start. Now you go find wood grain, put it over the top, or and metal over here. Double click the layer. Put all your wood grain and such on layer 1, and this one would be set to multiply. Just as an example here, I'll just produce it as a color. At the top, since it's set to multiply, the shadow is baked through. Just like that. Now you should probably find yourself with some wood grain. I'm going to go to one of my sites. You can go anywhere on the internet, just as long as it's royalty free. There we go. So I'm just going to copy this image and I'm just going to paste it over here. Don't forget texture scale. In this case, I want to shrink this way down. Okay. When I'm done, I can hit apply and then hold Alt to mass produce this one texture over and over again, making sure it fits all the shadows. So like you can stretch it out linearly this way, and it won't hurt any kind of wood grain. You just have to be wary of texture scale. And the wood grain itself, if you plop it down, blends quite well. If you miss a spot, just cover it over again with a new piece. Okay, same with the lids. There's only two lids showing. The two lids, because the other ones are inside the barrel, those are going to be black. Okay. And for the metal, again, just have to think like a texture artist. But what I want to do is include this into the actual lesson so your barrel turns out really decent. And you learn a little bit more outside the box. Sure, this is crawling outside a physics lesson, but these are things I like to address. For a metal, again, you can go anywhere on the internet. It's a different kind of metal here. I just want to make sure that you don't plop down some kind of noisy texture and expect that to look good. Okay, texture scale again. This one's a little bit a different trick. You can actually apply this over and over again. And then take those and hit Control E, and it will merge them down. Okay, and then you could take Alt and click and drag that out a couple times. And voila, you have now a texture for your barrel. Okay. In Exploding Barrel, I'm going to save this as a TGA. Since this is my color map, I'm going to label it CM for color map. Use 24-bit. And in Maya, we're just going to import that in. Here's Hypershade. Now there's already a texture in place, so I can just replace that rather than click and drag a new one in. I can click this one, and down below, right here under image name, I could just hit browse and click my color map. Double click this for a real-time preview. And right now this is on, it's on the occlusion channel of your material. So if you go to Lambert 2, you can see it's attached to incandescence. Remove it, break the connection, and apply it to color. Now you can go to textures, drag that material down, middle mouse button, click and drag this one down to color. That's a much better way to do it. You want it to be on the color channel. You do not want it to be on the occlusion channel or the incandescent channel. The texture scale is just a little bit big. It would still need to be scaled down some. But other than that, here's my barrel. Okay. One last thing I like to show. The law of randomness states that, something so perfect and uniform doesn't really look all that good. So I'm going to take this texture right here, copy it, and throw it down on top of everything. Then I'm just going to scroll through these until I find something that helps us out. In this case, multiply looks pretty good. And I'm going to lower the opacity just a little bit. Save it right over the top. Click my texture, hit reload. It's a slight difference, but you can see now that the wood has some stains in it every once in a while, and it's not so uniformed. Alright, now that we've prepped the barrel, now we can blow it up. So please move on to the next video.